Visiting the buildings is like being transported out of China and into Europe. The century-old buildings, located in the provincial capital of Harbin, were renovated before being opened to the public in May. Covering an area totaling 290,000 square meters, the buildings feature both Western Baroque architectural elements and traditional Chinese design features.
This is Dawai district in Harbin, and China's largest and best preserved Chinese Baroque architecture community remains here. Look at those buildings around me. They all adopt Western Baroque style for exterior design. Looks really beautiful and grand. But when you come closer, you will find those buildings all apply unique Chinese elements for decoration, such as beds, peonies. Now, let's go to find more Chinese auspicious elements.
The buildings are absent of the images of angels and other religious elements that are typically found in Baroque design. Instead, there are designs and decorative elements that draw on Chinese superstition. For example, on the building's pillars and walls, one can see grapes and pomegranates, which represent fertility. Peonies and lotuses symbolize happiness and good fortune. A large basket of flowers represents a good harvest. There is also animal-shaped decor, such as bats, deer, and cranes, which symbolize happiness, longevity, and prosperity. Decor resembling coins used in ancient China represents wealth and prosperity. Baroque architecture emerged in late 16th century Italy and spread through Europe and Latin America during the 17th century. The style often adopts broad forms, with external facades characterized by dramatic projection. Harbin's Chinese Baroque buildings have their own unique features. Traditional style Chinese doors are used, with iron knockers shaped like lions' faces. Behind the building's facades, there are open quadrangle courtyards similar to those used in ancient Chinese homes. The courtyards, known as Siheyuan in Chinese, are commonly found throughout China, especially in Beijing. Independent courtyards are surrounded by other buildings that are separate but still connected via corridors. The compounds usually have 2 or 3 stories, leaving a large open area in the middle for socializing. The courtyard features veranda handrails and pillars that are exquisitely carved.
After having a tour around Chinese Baroque, some people may wonder whether this architectural community is designed by some modern artists. Actually, Chinese Baroque is already century-old. In the early 20th century, under the infiltration of foreign culture and the influence of prosperous national industry and commerce, Chinese businessmen blended Western Baroque style with traditional Chinese elements, creating this unique Chinese Baroque.
A large influx of foreigners and foreign capital resulted in the creation of many Western-style buildings, including these Baroque buildings, in Harbin during the early 20th century, when the city was gradually becoming an international trading port thanks to the creation of a railway by Tsarist Russia that brought industry and commerce to the city. In 1920, with the expansion of Chinese companies, business circles in the city's Dawai district were formed. The businessmen working in these circles wished to improve their working and living environment, hiring craftsmen to construct the richly decorated Baroque buildings. Over 100 of these buildings were built from 1915 to 1930. Such buildings are generally found in cities like Beijing and Harbin these days, with the latter being home to the largest and best preserved Baroque complex in China. However, many of the buildings are in disrepair. Although the buildings are in rough shape, local residents are quite attached to them and have memories of growing up in them.
When I was little, my father would split wood, bring coal and carry it into the courtyard to cook. In the past, we had only one water pipe in the courtyard. Several families would have to line up and wait with buckets to collect water.
I've lived in the Baroque building since childhood. The courtyard, the outer stairs, everything is quite comfortable. Of course, the house is quite simple. You can't compare it with modern ones. In the past, we all lived here, and the buildings didn't seem quite special to me. But in recent years, Chinese Baroque has become more well-known. It is everywhere in the district. We all know that the carvings have special meanings. Every time we pass the street, we appreciate the decor.
Many of the same businesses that opened when the buildings were first built are still open, including the Hendry Clock and Glass Shop and the Tongji Marketplace. Renovations have been underway since 2007 to restore the building's features.